Well, hello everyone. I'm Chris Cyr, CTO for Sterling, and I have with me right now my good friend Suri. And Suri, what do you do for Dell?
I lead the Dell Federal business.
Oh, no pressure.
No pressure.
Right? Wow. We've seen an awful lot in our short time, here at Dell Tech World. But a lot of it is coming. A lot of the things that we've spoken about have come to fruition. What are some of the things that you're experiencing that now is a good time for the federal government to really begin to act?
Yeah. With all the changes that are happening across government, we're at this inflection point where technology is now the capability that's going to drive efficiency, productivity, and all the gains that are needed to
Yeah,
make government operate better for us as citizens. And so it's an exciting time. We've never had a moment where
right.
technology can fill the gap the way it has.
It's always
AI is the driver. Right.
Yeah, it's always been like this overwhelming, wave, like virtualization when it came out,
That's right.
and then cloud came out, and now, we do have this inflection point. Um, what are some of the use cases that your customers are talking to you about?
There are areas around just better citizen engagement. So think of when you need government, how do you access government, and what are the responses that you get? There are other areas such as waste, fraud, and abuse, helping identify the bad actors and reclaim
Yeah,
right along the way. And then eventually, there's going to be cases around agentification, the new buzzword, if you
right,
will.
right.
But think of the machine working in the background 24/7, all year long, just for you as the citizen to make sure that government's operating
I know
the
I
way it
use
needs
that,
to.
right? I think we've texted,
Yeah,
some of the things that I've done, which is it's amazing. It's a force multiplier,
that's right.
especially as we're trying to as a country shrink down, the size of our government
Yeah.
as well as our expenditure. Um, some of the interesting things that I've seen here at Dell Tech World, I mean, just basically, what Michael and and Jeff talked about in their keynotes, pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I what was really interesting to me was the partnership that you have with Google,
Mm.
being able to do Gemini on premises, right?
Yeah.
As well as the deep. You and I both know the deep partnership that Dell has with NVIDIA.
Yes.
We're constantly building different solutions, but we have, we were just talking about like the AI PC, the role of
Mhm.
the AI PC, and I always say whenever I buy one, there's no confetti, there's nothing that rolls out, and so, do you think that is a message that we need to bring to our government customers?
You have done more to educate me about the AIPC
Right.
than anybody in the industry,
Yeah.
and you had a lot of passion around it.
Yeah.
I know the one thing is, it's nice to say AI is on everything, but when you can actually make it a part of your a daily operation,
Right.
that's when it becomes real.
Yeah.
And I would love to at some point figure out what that enablement is, because that's where government's going to benefit. If you look at it, an AI PC should do the work of 5 people in the
Absolutely.
background.
Yeah.
You have one conductor, if you will, and you have a bunch of agents. That's the future I want to get to. You have better cybersecurity, you have better opportunity in the background to
Right.
do more with that capability
Yeah.
sitting in front of you. And we really need to figure out how to enable it. And government should be looking at this.
And Dell sits in a very interesting position in which you can do all of that, from client all the way out, into cloud.
Yeah.
Being able to provide that entire workflow. I presented yesterday, Monday, getting my days mixed up.
Mm.
Monday, I presented the AI Edge to Rest workflow,
Mhm.
and we listed all of the partnerships that Dell has from a diverse silicon,
Yeah.
landscape, whether it's Intel or AMD or NVIDIA or Qualcomm, the different offerings that are there. And I think that a lot of the federal government customers don't understand, the diversity that you all have.
That's right.
And so what types of questions are you starting to get regarding that?
Well, it's all about making it real, and you're articulating, right? It's an ecosystem,
Yes.
and there's no way that any customer, government, et cetera, can architect all the relationships that need to happen
Right.
in order to make an AI PC go or an AI environment go. So it comes down to the partnerships, and so I get a lot of questions about how do we do that,
Right.
and bringing in the right partners the right skill set is where we're really focused at the moment. And making sure that we have the use cases and we're looking at outcomes versus just selling a widget.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell a box because it won't do anything for you. I want to help you enable AI for your environment and in government to support your mission, right? And if it's not doing that, then we really have missed the mark, right?
I went out and checked out the Pro AI Studio.
Yes,
the whole new offering that you have, in partnership with Hugging Face and everything that's going there. Very, interesting start. I'm really excited to see where it's going to go over the next, year or so.
Right.
Because I think that that it will help customers answer some of those questions without even having to be able to discuss them.
Right. We're in the early innings of this whole thing.
Right.
And as a company, we're trying to make it as easy as we can.
Right.
AI is a complicated capability and technology.
We've been doing it forever.
And you're like my, my teacher in the background.
Right.
And it's a hard thing to learn. And the easier that we can make it, the more benefit it's going to have for society and everyone that's going to be part of it. So
now that we've we have client devices that have Grace Blackwell.
Yes.
Right.
It's wild, right?
It's crazy, and we have Jensen talking about Reuben that's going to happen, in just a couple of years.
That's right.
And massive performance games. I think we're finally beginning to break some of that language barrier, code barriers. Some of those things are starting to be, brought down. I was using a tool set just to look at code that I completely dealt with, that I wrote maybe 10 years ago. I had a huge networking problem that I didn't really completely understand. And I uploaded that and said, fix this. This is my problem. And amazing, what it came out with. And then I asked it to explain it. And it did.
Right.
The reasoning models are just, crazy. But, is it overwhelming for the federal customers that, ChatGPT came out, the generative AI came out, just a couple of years ago. And now, we've taken that and we've developed reasoning models, and then we got to educate our government customers on that. And now agents, what do you think the future is going to be? What do you want the future to be? Right? How do we work together to get that future?
It's hard to tell what the future will be, given that, just like you said, ChatGPT only came out a few years ago, and here we are. I think the key is what you just said about your coding example. You have to use the technology. You have to get excited about it. And once you get there, you will then see the art of the possible. I use the tools right now to do research and educate me. I used to go to YouTube. Now I get answers actually quicker on my phone.
Right.
On my, and it's instant. It's enough detail that gets me where it needs to be. I also have the wherewithal to have to read what's coming across and know what's real and what is incorrect information.
There is I learned an interesting thing about the vegetative electron microscope or something like that doesn't even exist. Right. It was pulled from like two papers from 1950, 55 that, we do have AI models that do that. So, having properly sourced models is going to be a big outcome for the government. There's going to be a lot of data there. We also talk about technical curiosity.
Yes.
Right. Because you and I,
that's the way it works. Right.
So, how do we have that conversation with our customers to really get them, technically curious about this?
Yeah. Well, first we have to be excited about it, right? Yeah. Like I said, you and I are. It's for my organization, making sure that they're excited about it, and then we have to go in the market and show what the art of the possible is, right?
Right.
And making sure that for example, an accurate model and what that means, and making sure that we're curating the right amount of data that actually will tell the truth and not a vegetative.
Right. Whatever.
So, you really need the accuracy. And so we all have to be educators, but first we have to get excited and then get out in the market and tell the story.
It truly is an exciting time. We've gone through these cycles of cynicism, and ennui, if you will, about technology. I've yet to feel that way over the course of the past couple of years.
No, this is real. It's real.
It is real.
For sure.
Very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, man.
Thanks for having me. This is
10
great.
minutes just went by like that.
Hey.
But yeah, we'll continue to move forward.
Sounds good.
All
Thanks,
right.
Chris.
Yeah, anytime.
Appreciate it.